If you want to learn how to create deeper connection within your relationships, then watch this video. The tips and tricks that I've learned along the way that help me connect on a deep level with anyone who I actually want to connect on a deep level with, because you can't give your energy to everyone, right? Like, you pick the people that you like the most, who you want to connect with on a deeper level, and how to open them up. So the way I view people is, people are like presents, right? And the best way to open these people up is by questions, right? That is how I view people. So asking good questions, first, be able to connect on a deeper level. But beyond that, there's certain things that when you ask people questions and deep questions, some people, because a lot of people are used to being superficial on the surface, when you ask them a question, like, for example, I'm a coach, right? So when I ask someone a question like, what was your relationship like with your mother growing up? Like, that's a deep question, right? But that's just a normal question for me to ask. But for someone else, they'd be like, fuck, that's really deep. Wow. Or, you know, like, for example, one of my friends, he was here in Bali, and now he's since started this franchise in America. But he was asking me, he's like, hey, should I do real estate or should I do this food franchise business? And I asked him, I said, in 10 years from now, you started the real estate business, but you haven't started the franchise business. Would that be acceptable for you? Like, how would you feel about that? And he was like, oh shit, yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, no, I wouldn't want to have that situation happen. I can't remember the exact question, but something like that. And his response was like, yeah, fuck it, I'm going to do it. All right. So I asked him a question that was a deep question and made him think. And that's what thinking is. Thinking is nothing but the process of asking good questions. And so that's one way to connect to someone, is to make them think. I tell you now, rich and successful people love when they meet someone who makes them think, right? And so that's how I'm able to connect with such high level people. Like, 3 of my clients are like multi 8-figure entrepreneurs. And of course, I connected with them through my skill set of helping them improve their health. But beyond that, like, the relationship that we have is because I know how to talk to them, right? Because I make them think about, I ask them questions that they haven't asked themselves. And that is value. Like, when you can provide that kind of value to someone just through the questions you ask them, that is value. Like, it's not like I don't have to give you something. I am giving you something, like, it's intangible, right? And providing value to someone who values that. Like, for example, successful people, we value, I say we, because I'm also a successful person. I see myself that way, right? My self-image is that. And you might think I'm being arrogant, but hey, if you're not going to blow your own trumpet, no one's going to blow it for you, all right? And successful people, they value people that support them, okay? So let's say if you tell me,
Aaron, I really think you're doing amazing. Keep it up. Keep up the good work.
And I see that you're doing good work, I'm going to take that to heart and be like, fuck yeah, this is good. Like, he's supporting me, you know, or that's value. That's a form of value, right? And another thing is belief. Like, if you're lending your belief to me, like, you believe in me, like, that is valuable to me, right? So these are the things that can help you. But the biggest one that I want to share with you is sometimes, again, people will be on the surface. So even if you're asking these questions, some people will just, like, they put their guard up because it's a bit too deep. That question's a bit too deep. So what you do is you start being vulnerable first. And this is a secret that I don't see many people doing, but it's kind of obvious to me. It's, if I want you to be vulnerable, I'm not just going to expect you to be vulnerable, because in this day and age, no one's vulnerable, hardly anyone, unless you go there first. It's like everyone's hiding, right? Like, everyone's hiding behind their shit. So when I open up and share, like, for example, one time I did this. I had a panic attack. My first panic attack, 2020. I think it was April 2020, my first panic attack. I didn't even know I had a panic attack. I thought it was food poisoning. And I went to one of my friends here in Bali, and she said,
no, it's a panic attack. I know the symptoms you're experiencing right now.
And she's like, where, like,
are you stressed and stuff
like that? I was like, yeah. Anyway, I made a video about this, posted it on my social media, and then the amount of people that replied to me saying, oh yeah, I had something similar happen to me. Oh yeah, I'm feeling stressed right now. You know, I'm going through this and this. The amount of people that just opened up because I shared my vulnerability first. This is the key. When you share your vulnerability first, it gives the other person permission to share their vulnerability. So that is one of the biggest ways you can connect, because connection really is just vulnerability. The more open I am, the more I show you who I am, all of me, open my heart up to you, the more connected you're going to feel to me. That's just how it works, right? So when I shared that I had a panic attack, like people just shared their love with me. You know, they shared like,
Aaron, you're amazing, or
like,
oh, I had a similar thing happen to me,
or, you know, all this stuff. And it was amazing to feel super connected to people that were just like there before, but now they're like, we're having a conversation, we're talking about real things that matter, like the struggles we go through, and we're forming a bond and a relationship and a deeper connection just on that alone. Okay, so those are the two things really. It's ask better questions, deeper questions, and vulnerability. Be vulnerable first. And that's a skill, it's a trait that you can develop, because being vulnerable is not so easy, because if we're vulnerable, who can take advantage of us, right? Oh, people are going to see our flaws. But, you know, I always think about, when I'm thinking about my fear around being vulnerable, I think about the movie 8 Mile. If you haven't watched it, at the end of the movie, Eminem's in a rap battle, and the guy thinks he's going to win, and then Eminem starts, and he starts self-deprecating, right? He starts saying all the shit about himself that the other guy was going to use against him. He's like, yeah, my friend did shoot himself in his dick with his own gun. Yeah, you did fuck my girl. And then he's like,
this guy's a gangster, his real name's Clarence.
And then he just starts going, right? And he owns all the negative things about himself, so that when that guy's chance to rap turns up, the guy can't say anything because he's got nothing to rap about, because Eminem's already owned his imperfections, right? And that is the power of vulnerability. It's like when you own, this is a side tangent, but when you own your imperfections, like people can't weaponize your imperfections against you. So that's a big one. Like I had 2 panic attacks. I had one this year also, and that was because I was owning someone else's feelings. Like I was being responsible for how someone else feels, like my ex-girlfriend. And woke up next morning with a panic attack. Then I went to see this healer here in Bali, and he helped me calm me down. And he was like,
man, you can't be responsible for anyone. You're only responsible for yourself.
And so even that conversation with him, like we were so connected, because I was opening up. I was just, hey man, look, I'm letting my guard down. I'm not hiding. This is what's going on for me. And the amount of love I received as a result of that was immense. Like he gave me a hug and I started crying, because like he's like,
I want to be like your father.
And I was like, wow, that was really touching to me. You know, I started crying. I was really emotional, because that was an emotional day. I had a fucking panic attack, right? I was like, fuck. I thought I'd be done with 1. Like I had 2? Shit. Am I fucked up? But, you know, I think everyone's fucked up in their own ways. But just, you know, revealing those fuck ups, like what's fucked up about you, just reveal it to someone who you know is not going to judge you for it. And that's the key, right? Like the fear of vulnerability comes when we think we're going to be judged for sharing something that we don't really want to share with someone, because we'll rather keep it to ourselves. But you know what they say in, was it Alcoholics Anonymous? Our secrets keep us sick. And I really believe that, you know, like shame's favorite food is secrecy. So whatever we have shame around, if we keep it a secret, then that's what's going to eat us alive, literally. And shame is a whole nother topic. You know, I'm not the expert on shame. Brene Brown is. She's been a researcher for 30 years. So if you want to research her, then check it out. But yeah, like this is really important on how to connect with people on a deeper level, is ask better questions, get them to talk. That's what I do in my podcast, and be vulnerable first. If you actually watch my podcast, you can see all of this in action. Like, you know, people see what you do, but they don't know how you do it, right? It's like my mentor said this to me. He said, we were looking at the ocean in San Diego, and he's like,
you see that surfer on that surfboard?
I was like, yeah. And he's like,
you can see what he's doing, right? Like he's standing up on a piece of plastic in the middle of the ocean.
Every surfer laughs when I say that. That's basically what it is. But we don't know how he's doing what he's doing. Like we can see what he's doing, but we don't know how he's doing it. The same thing with me and my podcasts. Like people can see what I'm doing, but they don't know how I'm doing it, right? Like how am I getting these guests to open up? And oftentimes they say,
Oh, I've never shared that publicly before.
you know, like how am I getting them to do that? There's a skill set in there. And it's partly what I said, being vulnerable first, right? But also creating that safe space, like being that container, which is what Bali people, they use that word, the container, where they feel safe to share. Because they know when they share something personal and vulnerable about themselves, they are not going to be judged. This is the key. If I share something with you that's vulnerable and you judge it, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to make that mean, when I share this with this person, they judge me. Therefore, I'm not going to share anything more. That right there stops the connection. It limits the amount of connection we can have because I know that I can't go deeper with you because when I share something that's really deep and vulnerable, you can't facilitate that. Like you can't hold space for me. They say another thing they say in Bali, hold space. Basically means don't judge me, just let me emote. Let me talk about what's coming up for me, what's going on in my life. And don't judge me for it. If you judge me, I'm going to go back into my shell like a turtle. And that's what happens. So if you understand this, and if you want more help on this, let me know, and let me know in the comments, because this is the key to connecting with people that you actually want to connect with. Like if I want to connect with you, let's say you're sitting right there and I want to connect with you. I know exactly how to do it. I know exactly how to, unlock the doors to your mind and get in there. And that's what I love about the podcast, because that's what I'm doing. Like I'm literally opening up people's minds and having a little look around. And the way you do that, again, asking good questions, being vulnerable first, and not judging them, right? Like holding a space, being a safe space. And that's what I want everyone to do, because now, if everyone can do this, then it'll be a much better place to live in life, right? Because you feel safe and you have more deep connections in your life and you'll feel more fulfilled and more loved. Who doesn't want that? So do these things and you're going to really notice how beneficial it is to your life and how the relationships that you have in your life will actually be serving you instead of draining you. And that's another thing that's another topic, is like how to avoid the relationships that drain you. I've definitely had a few of those in my life, and it takes the energy out of you. But anyway, I digress. That is enough for this video. Again, if you want me to elaborate on this, or you want more help with how to create deeper connections in your life, then go ahead and book a call with me and click the link below this video, or just DM me at @TheRealDarko on Instagram, and we can get on the phone and talk about your unique situation. Like what's it like now? What do you want to accomplish? Where do you want to be with your relationships? What's getting in the way of that? And we can help you move forward. All right. So if that sounds something like you want to do, go ahead and contact me on @TheRealDarko at Instagram, or check the links in the bio, in the description. All right. Like and subscribe. Let's get these subscribers up, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Leave any feedback below, and I'll talk to you soon. Ciao.